martial arts, you are trained in various movements that have a practical application, and you have to memorize them, and we are what we do and we do what we are. So you learn to do these motions that become a part of you, and you make yourself become a part of these motions. And that is also in the act of playing an instrument. It's driven by the idea of expressing something meaningful, something perhaps beautiful. I have a lot of different musical styles in my background.
You can't hold no groove if you ain't got no pocket.
I started in funk and R&B and fusion music, and then got led more into classic jazz. Really what I wanted to do with most of my career was to play those styles of music on electric bass and the upright bass. Then it was in graduate school that I just had this almost epiphany when I was studying Mozart's Symphony No. 41, and the last movement struck me as just ravishingly gorgeous, and I wanted to be a part of that sound. You can hear a great melody and it can be very meaningful and beautiful in some ways, but it gets some of its identity by what's happening around it and what's happening underneath it. That's one of the things that attracts me so much to the bass, is it's quite literally and philosophically the bottom line. Playing the bass is not exactly the flashiest role in the orchestra, but it's a role that is bigger than one's own ego. You're participating in a larger beauty, in a more cumulative beauty. In our culture, it seems like we're very focused on the hero and the individual, and for me, the role of the bass is sort of an unsung hero in a way, and I relish the role in being part of something bigger and playing that supportive role. The sound of the orchestra would not be the way it is without that depth of the bass. Around the same time I started getting into the bass, I also happened to get into martial arts. Which I did very actively for 10 years. I was even a martial arts instructor and trained in many different locations and had many students. You learn about mortality and the fragility of, and also the strength of the human being. The art that I studied was called Hwarangdo, which is an ancient Korean art, very heavily influenced by Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. I see parallels in those belief systems in my own, some of which being getting out of the way of yourself, not trying so hard to control every aspect of your life. Music and art have been a vehicle for me to understand so much more about myself and about life. One of my favorite commentaries about beauty comes from Dostoevsky's The Idiot, in which he says, "Beauty saves the world." And in small little ways, I guess it kind of does. That's how I've experienced it in my own life. And I've traveled all over the world. I've been to many different places, lived many different places. And to be able to bring that with you wherever you go is a wonderful thing. And what better place to get to share it with people than here in San Francisco.